Alright, Broncos country, let's slow this down for a second. Take a breath. Because what the Denver Broncos are dealing with right now, this isn't comfortable, but it is familiar. Picture this. One of the last four teams still standing in the NFL playoffs. Lights brighter, stakes higher, every snap heavier than the last. And then right at the worst possible moment, Bo Nix goes down. Final seconds of overtime against Buffalo. Penultimate play, an awkward hit, an ankle fracture, season changing, postseason ending, and suddenly, everything shifts. Now hold up. Before anyone spirals into panic mode, let's get something straight. This team didn't get here because of flashy quarterback play. They didn't survive January football by winning shootouts. They didn't muscle their way into the AFC Championship because one guy carried them on his arm. This run? This is about something else. If this scenario plays out the way it looks right now, Jarrett Stidham is your quarterback. And yeah, I know how that sounds. Stidham hasn't started a meaningful football game since 2023. He wasn't supposed to be the guy. He wasn't part of the dream. He wasn't part of the marketing plan. But here's the thing. The Broncos don't need him to be. They don't need superhero throws. They don't need highlight reels. They don't need 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. What they need is for him to not lose the game. And that changes everything. Let's be honest about Bo Nix's season. It wasn't clean. It wasn't dominant. There were ups, and there were some real valleys. But when the moment mattered most, he showed up. Third downs, late drives, red zone moments. That's where Bo earned trust. But while the conversation outside Denver focused on his growth, inside the building, everyone understood the reality. The defense was doing the heavy lifting. Every week, they set the tone. They flipped field position. They turned pressure into mistakes. They forced quarterbacks into playing left-handed football. And when the offense stalled, they held the line. That identity doesn't disappear just because the quarterback does. Let's say this unfolds the way it's lining up right now. Denver, New England, win, and you're going to the Super Bowl football. On paper, this looks close. But when you dig in, there's a clear pressure point. The trenches. The Patriots' offense has looked shaky, not just a little inconsistent, vulnerable. Drake May has had a rough postseason, and that's not all on him. Protection has been a problem. Timing has been off. Confidence has come and gone. And once the playoffs start exposing weaknesses, they usually don't stop. Here's where it gets real. The Patriots surrendered 58 sacks this season. Denver's defense, 71 sacks, including the playoffs. That's not just impressive, historically rare. That combined total, 129 sacks. That's one of the highest combined sack numbers ever for a defense and its opponent entering a postseason matchup. The only group that ever came close? The 1985 Bears and the Rams they dismantled. And we all know how that story ended. The Bears didn't need offense. They needed pressure. They needed chaos. They needed turnovers. Sound familiar? We've seen versions of this script before. Playoff football doesn't care about reputations. It doesn't care about draft position. It doesn't care how good you looked in October. Pressure cracks quarterbacks, even the great ones. Mahomes has felt it. Brady felt it. Burrow felt it. And Drake May? He's already been sacked 10 times this postseason. Chargers, Texans, relentless fronts, unforgiving edges. And it hasn't gotten easier. Will Campbell is talented. There's no denying that. But let's be real. He's a rookie. First playoff run. Coming off injury. Thrown straight into the fire. And the league has noticed. 3 sacks allowed this postseason. 8 total pressures. Khalil Mack. Dave O. Will Anderson JRB. Danielle Hunter. Wave after wave. And now, he sees Denver. Denver doesn't just pressure quarterbacks. They specialize in it. Nick Bonito finished 3rd in the NFL in pressure rate this year, 19.1%. Only Micah Parsons and Will Anderson JRB were ahead of him. That's elite company. And on the inside, Zach Allen is quietly putting together one of the most disruptive seasons a defensive lineman has had in recent memory. He's 2 quarterback hits away from breaking J. Watt's single-season record. Let that sink in. This defense doesn't need perfect coverage. They don't need blitz-heavy schemes. They don't need risky calls. They hunt. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Defense alone doesn't guarantee anything. We've seen elite defenses stumble when the offense can't stay on the field. The Texans just lived that version of the nightmare. Drake May was under siege. He made mistakes. It was a long night. But on the other side, CJB Stroud struggled even more, and Houston went home. That's the line Denver can't cross. Jarrett Stidham doesn't need to win the game, but he absolutely cannot give it away. Field position matters. Clock matters. Protecting the football matters. If he does that, if he's steady, this defense can finish the job. This isn't pretty football. It's not flashy. It's not trending on social media, but it wins in January. The Broncos don't need a savior at quarterback. They need a caretaker. They need someone who understands the moment, who respects the defense, who doesn't try to be the hero. Because this team's path to the Super Bowl has always been clear. Pressure, discipline, controlled violence at the line of scrimmage, and belief. So, yeah, losing Bo Nix hurts. There's no sugarcoating that. But if this scenario holds, if this defense stays healthy, focused, and angry, the Broncos don't need their quarterback to be special. They need him to survive. And Broncos country, we've seen this movie before, and sometimes the ending surprises everyone.